Hi everyone, and welcome back to Simple Life in the South of France. In one of my recent videos, I shared why I absolutely love living in the Languedoc region of France. And whilst life is here beautiful, I also would like to share some of the challenges you may face if you move here, and some that apply to France in general. Because as dreamy as the South of France looks, it's important to know what daily life is really like. So let's start with the obvious one. Climate. Many people dreams of lots of sunshine and beautiful weather, and yes, we have a lot of that in here, which is absolutely fantastic. But summers can be really hot, too hot sometimes. We are talking about 35-40 degrees at times, and during the heat waves it feels impossible to leave home during the days. And with the heat comes another problem: wildfires. This year we had a lot of them. We had some terrible fires in the area, and I was really sad to watch. I have to say though, the firefighters here are incredible. They're working under extreme conditions, trying to put the fires out, trying to keep everything in control to keep people safe. So a big thank you to them. Another challenge is finding employment. The unemployment rate here is higher than in other parts of France, and jobs can be difficult to come by, especially if you don't speak French fluently. A lot of work is seasonal in areas like tourism, wine and agriculture, so if you are looking for a stable, year-round work, it can be tricky. That said, if you are able to work remotely, this becomes much less of an issue. But even if you do find work, there is another consideration: salaries. In general, wages here are much lower than in the UK, for example. So even with a job, your income might not stretch as far as you hope. If you are looking for remote work, you might face some hurdles too. Some international employers hesitate to hire people based in France because of the heavy tax obligations for companies. Not all, but some. So it can take longer than expected to secure the right role. My family faced the same difficulties, so here is my advice. Number one, plan for the worst. Put aside some money. I would suggest put more money aside than you would think you need for emergencies. For example, if you can't find work for a few months. And hopefully you won't need that, so you just have that money to spend however else you wish. But if you do, having that money for emergencies will just give you a peace of mind. And number two, plan ahead carefully. Start your job search well in advance, way before you move to France. That way you won't feel the pressure to find an employment really quickly after you arrived. Obviously, moving house itself can be quite stressful, can be quite difficult. Not to mention that you're moving to a new country, you're not going to know anybody, everything will be new. You need to have a lot of paperwork to deal with after your arrival, and that itself is a whole different level. So anyway, taking the stress of finding employment after arrival will make your life so much easier. Next up, public transport, or rather the lack of it. In big cities it's fine, there are buses, there are trains, so you can get around in big cities without any issue. But if you live in a village, you live a little bit remotely, you will need a car. There are some buses going to the nearby towns from villages, but not very many a day, so I feel it is essential to have a car if you want to get around easily. And then there is a cost of living. Groceries here are seriously expensive. I used to think that groceries in the UK are expensive, but no, they are not. When we went back to the UK to see friends and family in May and went into the supermarket, I just felt the need to stuff my bag with like fruit and vegetable and meat and bring them back to France, which obviously I can't do. But it just shows the massive difference in the prices. And the cost of groceries for a family on a weekly basis really adds up. Local markets are wonderful for fresh produce and atmosphere, but most of the time they are not the cheapest option either. If you are interested to see the actual prices of groceries in supermarkets and markets here, drop a comment below and I will do a separate video about it. And finally, I have to mention French administration and taxes. Now, I love many things about France, but the bureaucracy is not one of them. Everything seems to take ages, and it just feels never-ending. I've been asked to send a copy of my passport for the same government body 6 times in the last year. I don't know why they keep asking the same thing, but Yeah, you're just gonna have to do what you're gonna have to do. You have to send your passport copy or whatever documents they're asking as many times as they do. You just need to smile or have a glass of wine or however, whatever coping mechanism you choose. But yeah, you need a lot of patience to deal with all of this paperwork, because it's quite a lot. And as a foreigner, not being familiar with the system makes everything even more difficult. Here is a tip though. There is this office called French Services. French Services is a service that the French government provides to people living in France, and it's completely free. Anybody can go into these offices, and there are many offices all around France. So anybody can go there and ask help to complete different paperwork. For example, I use them to help me exchange my UK driving license to a French one, and they were absolutely wonderful. So if you feel you stuck with some kind of paperwork, I definitely suggest to pay them a visit, because they're super helpful, and as I said, it's completely free. Regarding taxes, when you live in France, you not only pay tax after your salary to the government, but you also pay a things called social charges. These social charges are essentially social contributions towards pensions and unemployment payments and social security and things like that. So when you add it all up, the taxes that you have to pay and the social contributions on top of that, it feels very steep. Because of this, your net salary that actually stays in your pocket could be much less than what you used to. So these are some of the challenges you may face if you live in the south of France, or specifically the Languedoc region. I know that all of this sounds a bit daunting or maybe even a bit depressing, but despite all of this, I honestly still think that living here in the Languedoc region is a wonderful place to live. And I'm saying this despite the fact that we had to dig deep into a pocket, deep into our hard-earned savings, because finding work took longer than expected. The move cost us way more than expected, but the quality of life here is so much better. So for us, even with the financial challenges, the positives still outweighs the negatives. If you find this video helpful, please give me a like and subscribe for more about life in the south of France. And thank you for watching. See you next time.